Good morning, everyone. It is Thursday. Today is Thursday, January 25th, 2024. It is 9 a.m., which means it is time for our mindful moment. I'm Dr. Jonathan Zenz. I am the senior minister here at Unity of Tucson. And this is an opportunity we take every single weekday to join together in this virtual space to collectively engage in spiritual practice. Why? Well, what I have found is that a consistency in my spiritual practice has enhanced the quality of my life. And so I choose to share that practice publicly in this forum and invite you into the practice as well. And what I trust is that it blesses your life and enhances the quality of your life as well. So, but you get to decide how you engage with that. That's part of that's a fundamental tenet of how I choose to be in ministry is that you get to decide. I've got a little flyaway there. Okay, there we go. You get to decide how you engage in the practice. But I trust this is a blessing for you. Whether you're watching live or on the replay, I would love for you to post a comment and let me know that you are here. Let's see, some comments have been coming through already. Here they are. Yes, there's Sherry. Happiest of moments to all. Grateful to see you this morning, Sherry, and every morning, and grateful to have you in my life. Reverend Marvis, greetings. Missing you in person, but grateful to know that we're connected in this fashion and hope to see you in person before too long. William, grateful. Good morning to all. Grateful to see you here this glorious day. Roberta, hello. Busy day ahead for me. Yeah, I just got a follow-up text from a family member saying, "Hey, we sent this invitation out. We haven't heard from you." And it was one of those situations where I thought I had responded and I hadn't responded. And I wrote back and I said, "Oh, well, you're doing this on a Thursday. Thursdays are one of my fullest days. And so I'm not going to be able to join for that event." But yeah, and I say full because busy sometimes has kind of a negative context for me. But yeah, but I like fullness. I like fullness. Reverend Jerry, good morning to you. Grateful to see you on this glorious day. I do, of course, want to offer this reminder. I invite you to relax and hear these words as though you're hearing them for the first time, even though you have heard them, you've heard me say them before. Imagine that you're hearing them for the very first time. The words are these: you are love. You are light. You are life. You are magnificent. Just soak in those words. Just soak it in. Allow yourself to see what resonates, what kind of activates energetically for you in taking those words in. I love offering those words as a reminder to you and to myself. Yeah. So this morning, speaking of all these things and fullness and things like that, ministry is a funny thing. And stepping into my role here at Unity of Tucson almost 4 years ago now, to take on the mantle of being the spiritual leader, the senior minister here, it's the second time I've taken over an existing center. My first foray into full-time ministry as a spiritual leader was really right after I was launched out of the gate, right after I finished my studies and got my credential to be a minister. Literally within a few months, I had moved from Los Angeles to Toronto to take over the Center for Spiritual Living in Toronto. And there's a reason that I'm bringing this up. So Center for Spiritual Living Toronto, then taking over Unity of Tucson after I had returned back, and there was that 2-year period in between where I had started that work, Tucson New Thought, and grateful for those beautiful days that many of us who are here on this in this forum shared that time together, and grateful for that. One of the things though that I recall very vividly from the last so in the last week of study, I don't know what that was. In the last week of study, we have this you go we went through this experience called the intensive week, the ministerial intensive. And in the ministerial intensive, basically you're faced with workshops every single day. You're in workshops from 8 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock at night, and it's people who are seasoned in the field who come and they tell you, they are imparting their wisdom essentially to you. And I remember one minister came up to me, or came up in front of the group of us who were there for the ministerial intensives, and they said, if you take over a work in your first year, don't change anything. Don't change anything. And it was such a moment for me to kind of consider, what is it that I would do? Like, what would I do in that situation? I had not been hired in Toronto yet. I thought, well, what would I do if I actually were hired to take over a center? And in my thought process, I was like, well, my my path is not to take over a center. What I'm really intending to do is to start a new work. And I didn't know what that was going to look like. I was going to probably stay in Los Angeles for a little while, but when it all shook out, I ended up being invited to be the senior minister in Toronto. So I went and did that. And I got there, and there were things that I thought, oh, I don't know that this is the best path, or I don't know that this is the most workable path for my style of ministry. And yet I had that thing in my mind, don't change anything. Don't change anything. And what I realized is that idea was born out of limitation and fear. Um, and so I did make changes. And frankly, if you're a part of this community, you know that, I came in and I made changes. Part of coming in and making changes here was necessary, because when I started, the the world the world had shut down, and we were in this weird time of COVID, and and limiting gatherings, and so we were virtual for the first year. It was a very strange time, but changes were made. And so after a year, when people came back, it might have felt even more shocking to some of the people who had been here before, like, oh my gosh, like, things have really changed here. um, but there's this idea about tradition that I kind of keep in my mind, and part of my step into ministry and part of my spiritual practice is to actively engage in the construct and the concept of, we are in we are in evolution always. We are constantly evolving and growing and changing. That's the nature of life. So why would I want to withhold change that wants to happen? And so I appreciate the wisdom of that individual, and I do feel like it was born out of fear a little bit, giving us that advice. And while I don't plan on taking over another church or another center probably ever again in my life, because this is where I choose to be, this is where I want to be, um, I probably wouldn't give that same advice. I'd probably say, be in conversation about how to move forward and how to change with your community, if that's your call. But this is applicable in every area of my life, in every area of our lives. In what ways might we be withholding change? The idea of, oh well, we've always done it this way, right? We've always done it this way, and isn't that just the way that this works? Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. There's an infinite potential and possibility in this thing called life. And there's this message that comes up sometimes for me, and it has in quotes, we've always done it this way. And it continues, by saying that it isn't a way to make decisions, it's actually an excuse to avoid decisions. We've always done it this way, so why change now? Well, you're avoiding making a decision in many ways by, perhaps there is a better way. I don't know. The power of decision is an invitation for us to try and experiment. And that's what I love, is stepping into the experiment. And you know what? Not every decision is going to work out in a constructive manner, but it doesn't invite me to not make decisions or to avoid decision making by saying, oh, well, this is the way it is. It's always been this way. So today really is all about, how are you actively stepping into evolution in your life? Is there something that perhaps you've thought, oh, well, we've always done it this way, and I just, I don't have the energy to kind of address it, change it. Um, and that may be so, but I really would love to see change. Well, you're the activator of change. You are the activator of change in every aspect of your life. So if you're looking for something to shift, it will never shift as long as we keep the mindset of, well, this is the way it's always been, so we're just going to keep doing it this way. It's a lot of words today. But really the core message today is be an activator. Be an activator. Do not fear change and step into evolution. And that's what I'm going to pray on. I'm going to invite us all to relax right where we are. Simply allow ourselves to have this opportunity to easefully and gently and gracefully be fully present to this moment. I choose to close my eyes, and if it's safe and comfortable, you're welcome to close your eyes. I choose to close my eyes because it is an invitation for me to turn my attention to the inner life. As I turn my attention to the inner life, which is the point from which all creation of my life flows forth. I do so in this present moment, releasing anything that has preceded this moment and letting go of any anticipation for what may unfold. I simply allow. And I welcome joy, I welcome laughter, I welcome in this moment a lightness. For that is what I'm feeling at the heart space. That's what's happening in the inner life right here and right now. And I know that this joy is the construct and the outflow of the magnificence that I choose to call and understand as God. God, this good orderly direction, this greatness on demand, this creative energy that is the fundamental premise upon which the entire universe is flowing forth. And there is no aspect of the universe that is not wholly divine. Everything is God. There is no being out there. There is only the beingness. The beingness which flows forth as allness. And so everything seen, everything unseen, it's all God. There is God and nothing else. And I choose not to get limited in an idea of God because I simply choose to use that word. I expand the definition, I expand the understanding, and I hold firm in faith that God is. God is. And I am. We are, each and every one of us, we are this power and presence. We are this light. We are the love. We are the divinity of the universe flowing forth into expression. Just as all form and matter is the divinity of the universe flowing into expression, we are not separate from, we are part of this wholeness. Every aspect, every fiber of our being is God. Every cell in our body, all the space between the cells, it's all God. And so this is how I choose to understand my identity, and this is how I choose to experience every single person I encounter. I see them, I understand them, and I recognize them as God. And so I know the word I speak right now is a word that is rooted in the infinite creative power. And so I welcome and accept the flow that inevitably goes forth from this understanding. And I call upon the flow to actively engage an openness to difference, an openness to change, an openness to a greater understanding that the infinite expresses itself in magnificent myriad ways. That there is multiplicity that flows forth from unity. And so nothing is stagnant. Nothing needs to remain the same. I choose to step into the active evolution of my life, knowing that I am different now than I was 30 seconds ago. For that is the nature of the divine, to consistently unfold itself in a manner that is always shifting, changing, growing, expanding. And so I choose to participate in the evolution and expansion of the good. I apply this to every area of my life. And I trust and know that each and every one of us does so in exact accordance with what is right and constructive and forward moving for each and every one of us. I simply allow it to be. And with gratitude and appreciation overflowing from within, I simply release and trust and know and affirm this as so by saying, and so it is. Amen. And so it is. Always a delight, as I say. I love sharing this time with you and look forward to seeing you again tomorrow, once again at 9 a.m. right here on Facebook or YouTube or our website, wherever you're watching from, whether you're watching live or on the replay. Always a delight to share this time with you. And you can come share more time with me by joining us at Sunday Celebration. Our service begins at 10 a.m. You can catch that on YouTube and Facebook and our website. But always a delight to have you also join us in the room. So if you would like to be here, you can come and you can find out how to get here if you've never been here before by going to our website at unitytucson.com. And you can find out about all the other things that are happening here. So yeah, Sunday morning, we gather together every Sunday morning. Another thing that we do is we have a healing circle experience, and we do this once a quarter. If there is a fifth Wednesday in the month, and there happens to be a fifth Wednesday in January 31st, next Wednesday at 6 p.m., join us for a healing circle. It's the prayer chaplains that come together to create an energy and a vibration of healing with you. And whatever you're working on, you are welcome to bring it into the room and decide to leave it there and leave that room healed. So we begin that at 6 p.m. in Harmony Hall right here at Unity of Tucson next Wednesday, January 31st. So that's it. I look forward to seeing you all again soon, tomorrow, ideally, and trusting that you have a magnificent day. And know that you are magnificent, and it has nothing to do with anything you do in life. It's just who you are. Shine your light. Keep doing that. All right. Bye, everybody.